If you have subscribed to Jeddle's feedback platform, then you can use all of Jeddle's feedback and marking tools by going to the Feedback Hub, which can be opened using the link in the top right corner of the page. If you are a teacher, you will then be taken to the task page, where you can assign and manage different formative tasks for your classes. You will immediately see 3 columns: ordering your tasks in terms of drafts, active tasks which have been assigned and are currently being completed by a class, and closed tasks, those which have been completed. To view your tasks in the calendar view, simply click the calendar icon in the top right corner. If you are a teacher of multiple classes, then you can use the filter to view the tasks for a specific class. You can also sort your tasks from new to old or old to new. To create a new task, simply click the New Task button near the top right corner of the page. You can then follow 5 easy steps to create your task and assign it to the relevant classes. These steps include naming your task, selecting one or more classes that you wish to assign the task to, and of course setting up the task, including the question or task description, the focus areas, the areas that you would like the students to focus on in their response, and even highlight before submitting their response for external feedback, the marking template, including one of our preloaded rubrics or strengths and targets criteria. You can preview the template by clicking the preview button here. And your preferred comment bank for fast in-text annotations. These are all customizable in your marking settings. You can also select the type of response that you would like for this particular question or task, including a short response, extended response, or multiple choice questions. If you would like to add multiple questions for the task, you can simply click the Add a New Question button here. All of the feedback tools here, from focus areas, marking templates, and comment banks, are completely customizable, although you'll often find preloaded examples ready to go. If you forget how any of these areas work, simply hover over the nearest question mark, or click the Help button in the top right corner. For this task, we will create a question that instructs students to write 1 paragraph of analysis based on Animal Farm and issues of power and corruption. The 4th step of setting up a task is to decide whether you would like to mark the work yourself, teacher feedback, or get students to mark each other's work via a peer review task. If you select the peer-to-peer option, then you can pair specific students together by dragging student names from the right-hand column into the middle column so that they are paired up with the student in the left column. The left-hand column and the middle column will tell you who's submitting and who is reviewing. The final step is to set a due date. Unless changed, this will default to 3 days from the time that the task is created. Once you are ready to publish the task, making it visible for your designated classes, simply click the Publish button at the bottom. Once you have assigned a task, you will see that task appear in your active tasks on the main tasks page. Once students begin to submit responses, and once you or a peer has reviewed the response, you will see these numbers appear in the submissions and reviewed progress bars. To change the due date for a task, or to delete a task before any students have submitted a response, simply click the button in the top right corner of the bubble and click either of the available options. Once at least one student has submitted a response, you will be able to view those responses and provide feedback by clicking on the bubble. From the student's point of view, they'll be able to view their assigned tasks, that is, new tasks that have not yet been completed, tasks that have been started but not yet submitted, those that are in draft, and tasks that have been submitted and that are either awaiting review or have been reviewed and can now be opened. For this example, we can see the task that we have just created as a teacher. The student can then click on that task bubble and open up the task. The student can now see the question and will be prompted to submit their response in the available space below. Here we have broken up a sample response into the different sentences that make up the paragraph. And before a student submits their response for feedback, they'll be prompted to highlight the relevant areas of the text that match up to the focus areas that you wanted the students to identify. This is a self-assessment task that students can complete themselves. In this case, by highlighting power and corruption, we can see that the student is showing that they have linked to the question here. This student has also used a quote here, so they can highlight that text and click the relevant focus area here. Each link that the students make to the focus areas will be color-coded so that students can see whether they have adequately addressed the key elements that you as a teacher wanted them to focus on. If a student has a question about a particular area or they are unsure about something that they have highlighted, they can add additional comments by clicking the reply button attached to each of their highlights. The Focus Areas tool is a fantastic way of helping students become more aware of how they're writing their responses. Once a student has completed this task, they can then submit for feedback. Once a student has submitted a response, teachers will be able to see those submissions by clicking on the task bubble. There are 5 key tools to be aware of when providing feedback for a student response. Firstly, you can click on the Focus Areas tab in the top right here to view where a student has highlighted their work and identified what they believe to be one of the focus areas. If you would like to make a comment about one of those focus areas, then you can do so by clicking the reply button attached to each of those focus areas. You can then click on the Feedback tab and start providing more specific annotations. As soon as you highlight a relevant part of the student's response, you will see that the comment bank assigned for this task will appear on the right-hand side. This is intended to save you time so that you don't need to rewrite the same comments again and again. Each comment bank can be customized in your marking settings. And the comment banks will contain both a category or area of feedback, as well as a specific comment that elaborates on that area. This allows you to not only identify the relevant area of feedback, but also provide a more practical suggestion or instruction. In this case, because we want to comment on how the student has referred to the question, we will click Reference to the question. And if we believe that the student has simply repeated the question, then we might click on this specific comment. This will then generate a comment box for you without you needing to type everything out. However, if you would like to add a manual comment and even elaborate on the existing comment box, simply click Reply. You can then complete this process by highlighting the remainder of the text and adding any applicable comments, either manually using the comment box up here or by clicking the relevant comment from the comment bank. Importantly, if you would like to share a specific element of a response with the rest of the class, or perhaps a few students from within the class because you feel it may help them, you can highlight that area of the response and click Share with Class in the bottom right corner here. You can then select either the entire class or multiple classes, or a few select students. You can add a note or any extra commentary using the box here. After the feedback is submitted, that student will then be asked whether they are comfortable sharing that part of their response. If they are, it will contribute to the class's virtual library of shared responses. The next key step is to assign overall feedback. And in this case, because we have selected a rubric, we can select the relevant level that we believe the student falls into. This will appear as a clear grid for the student so they can see the descriptors for the levels above and below. You can also assign audio feedback and additional written general feedback by using these tools here at the bottom of the page. If you do include overall feedback at the bottom, just make sure to click Save before submitting the feedback to the student. You can then submit the feedback using the button in the top right corner, or you can request a resubmission by the student if you would like them to submit the response again. The student who submitted that response will then be able to review their feedback by clicking the task bubble that will now be in the In Review column. Students can then improve their work by editing the document based on the feedback provided.